What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules. Back again with another video. This one's kind of a special video, I guess is the best way to put it. 1 year ago, we saw a very, very big trade happen in the NBA world, and probably the biggest one that I have seen in my NBA fandom. It happened at like 12 o'clock at night, and it took me for a spiral. And if you read the title, you're like, oh yeah, that did happen. Kevin Durant was traded to the Phoenix Suns. Now, like I said, we're almost a year to the date. And so, with that being the case, I'm kind of reflecting on everything that happened 1 year ago. Now, I will say, like I said, almost 1 year to the date. I believe the exact trade was February 9th. But this year, the trade deadline is February 8th. I have more than likely will be doing a trade deadline grades video. So doing this video on the exact date would have been very, very difficult. So we're doing it a little bit early, but in the grand scheme of things, everything will still stay intact. So this video here today, I will be reflecting on a lot of what I said in that initial video. I'll be saying that being said a lot in this. So that being said, I did not watch that video back. If y'all have watched a lot of my videos, if y'all watched all my videos, I thank you. But if you've watched a lot of my videos, y'all can tell I don't like watching myself back. And it kind of, might hurt the actual video product, but it is what it is. But I do remember a lot of what I said in that initial video, and I would hate to rewatch that video. The main reason I made that video, like I said, when this trade took place, it was at 12 o'clock at night, and anybody I would talk about the trade with were more than likely asleep and ain't know about that trade for a couple more hours. And the trade, won't lie to you, had me a little bit heated. So, first thing I'll talk about in this video, the main reason I was heated was that Kevin Durant got traded exactly where he wanted to go, where we spent almost that whole offseason talking about all these potential fits and teams that we'd like to see him with. Instead, that kind of got all thrown out the window because he got what he wanted. Granted, that didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But the main reason I was upset is I wanted my team to be involved in it. If y'all don't know, I'm a Memphis Grizzlies fan. 1 year later, and again, maybe a year from now, this perspective will change, but my perspective on it, my opinion on it now, is probably very good that we did not trade for Kevin Durant, considering the amount of injuries we have had. Now, granted, there's a thing called the butterfly effect, meaning you go back in time and change one thing, the entire future changes as well. If we trade for Kevin Durant, does our injury luck still happen? Or I wouldn't even say luck. Injury scenario still happen? Who knows? Granted, for sure, the team would not look the exact same. But I will say the same thing. I still have this same stance. I do not want to trade for Kevin Durant unless we were keeping Ja Morant, which if you traded for Kevin Durant, you keeping Ja Morant. That's a great duo. You keeping Jaren Jackson, you keeping Desmond Bane, and at the time, you keeping Steven Adams. And it's, coincidental, the day I'm making this video, Steven Adams got freaking traded. But at least the main four, Ja, Jaren, Bane, Katie, I wanted that to happen. Seeing all the other trade scenarios that were presented at the time, there was not any trade that did not involve Jaren and Bane. So that is why I was I was okay in the grand scheme of things, not trading for Kevin Durant. Like I said, I spent a lot of time in that video talking about that, so I only spent like less than 2 minutes talking about it here. Now, that being said, let's get to some other teams. Now, I think I'm trying to this is the best way to put it. I'm really struggling here. A lot of teams would trade for Kevin Durant. A lot of teams couldn't trade for Kevin Durant. Like, for instance, let's say the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know a good team that would be. What's a good team to say? 'Cause I have notes here. The notes aren't helping me. Let's just say the Chicago Bulls and the Toronto Raptors, Atlanta Hawks. Let's just say those three teams. Kevin Durant would help them out. For the Atlanta Hawks, they'd be pairing Kevin Durant with Trae Young. for the Toronto Raptors, you're more than likely pairing Kevin Durant with either Pascal Siakam or Scottie Barnes. More than likely Scottie Barnes because they did not want to trade him. And then for the Chicago Bulls, I don't know who you're really pairing him with. Do they regret not throwing everything they could to get Kevin Durant to help their team out? Because with the Chicago Bulls, they're still in the same damn position they were. The Atlanta Hawks are still in the same position, but, trades and changes might be coming apart. And now Toronto definitely are not in the same position. They've changed as Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby aren't even on the team anymore. So do those teams regret not going after Kevin Durant? Probably not. Because, again, I'm going to keep comparing these teams and situations to what the Phoenix Suns have been positioned themselves into, where they gave up a great majority of their team. It hasn't propelled them much further than they would expect. Two teams that I do think, if they had the foresight to where they're at this year, they might have pushed a little bit more to get Kevin Durant. And again, this is probably a hot/bad take. The New Orleans Pelicans and the Oklahoma City Thunder. For the Pelicans, I always thought there was a scenario where you can involve Brandon Ingram and picks for Kevin Durant because the Pelicans want to take that next step. Where, again, the Pelicans this is the healthiest we've seen this team, even though they've had their struggles. But they're like the healthiest we've seen this squad of Ingram and Zion, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum, and Jonas Valanciunas. Again, you'd have to ask, what the hell would they have to give up to get Kevin Durant? It's just, I don't think they want to get to postseason time and be in the same damn position they've been in the past couple of years where someone is hurt, cough, cough, Zion, and then it's like, what do we got to do to take that next step? Kevin Durant obviously would have elevated that. And again, they have a lot of assets and young players that they could trade. Again, I don't think they really regret it. The Oklahoma City Thunder. I kind of have this weird idea in my head that Kevin Durant will end up back with the Oklahoma City Thunder one day. Will he be as effective as he was in his prime years in OKC where he won an MVP? Probably not. But the Thunder right now are the second seed. They still have their boatload of draft picks. And this is the first year they're kind of in they're very, very good. Where all the other years we have saw the promise, but it did not lead to postseason appearances. It was just like, oh, we need to wait till they're healthy. Now they are. But again, you don't want to get too far ahead and then you're stuck in the same position and you do need to make a change. And again, the main thing with Kevin Durant is he's only going to get older. If you were able to get him for the boatload of draft picks you got and the young assets, who knows? Again, I keep putting out these what-if scenarios that they don't matter right now because Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun. So, moral of the story, I just spent 5 minutes saying a lot of teams, I would say a great majority of the teams, don't regret not trading for Kevin Durant. Just seeing the scenarios that they're in, it's just a what-if question that they might be asking themselves, and they're not second-guessing it. Now, let's get to the Brooklyn Nets side of things. In my opinion, the Brooklyn Nets have a good roster and a potential future. But as I always say, I wouldn't mind having a couple of their players on my team. Like Mikal Bridges, like Nicholas Claxton, like Dorian Finney-Smith. I ain't giving up 2 first-round picks to get him. I saw that report today. I don't think that's true. Now, I'm not even saying it was from the Grizzlies that were trying to do that. It was just the report said the Brooklyn Nets rejected an offer involving 2 first-round picks for Dorian Finney-Smith. Again, that might just be false. Fake news. That being said, though, as of recording, they're the 11th seed at 19-28. And, like I said, the Nets, after this Kevin Durant trade, I was very high on. I made like 2 to 3 freaking videos talking about the Brooklyn Nets and being so high on them. Guess what? Like I said, they're the 11th seed, not even in the playoffs right now. And a lot of their team is kind of reportedly, over the last year or so, mainly the last month, where they've been in this rough stretch in trade rumors and what their team will be for the future rumors. And I don't think I spent that much time in my initial video talking about the Brooklyn Nets. But they're kind of, they're not in a better position. They're in the same position, maybe even a little bit worse after the Kevin Durant trade. But, again, like I said, they have a good future and a good roster. They just had to know what they're doing with Spencer Dinwiddie, who's not having a good year. Ben Simmons, who has showed signs of being older. Ben Simmons, when he's available, which that is the worst thing you have to say when you're talking about basketball things, when available. Nick Claxton and Cam Thomas. And the main reason I throw those two in is they're going to be up for contracts. Are they willing to commit to those two who are very, very good players and would be very good for their future? It's just questions that they're going to be asking themselves. But now we get to the main thing, the Phoenix Suns. And I will say this. As a recording, the Suns are the 6th seed, 28-20. And I should have wrote down the exact number of games the Big Three has played, but I didn't feel like doing that much research. The research I did do, though, Kevin Durant has played in 41 games this season, averaging 28.4 points. Which, I will admit, I somewhat forgot. He only played 8 regular season games for the Suns after the trade deadline last year because there was that incident where he slipped in warm-ups and then missed a handful of games, and then everybody's like, oh boy, what the hell's going on here? Like I said, though, they're the 6th seed. The 5 teams ahead of them, the Sacramento Kings, 27-19. The Denver Nuggets, 33-16. The Los Angeles Clippers, 31-15. The Thunder, 33-15. And the Minnesota Timberwolves at 34-14. Now, this is something that I have questioned a lot in that initial video, and every time I talk about the Suns since then. I do remember I said this, and I was right. I did not see the Phoenix Suns winning the championship last season after the trade. I just felt like it was a completely big move. There's still roster questions, and I just didn't think it was enough time to put all that together to make that championship run then. And that is something I was right. And again, they're going to keep saying, well, what if Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton didn't get injured? We can have that conversation every freaking year. This is the worst thing to talk about sports is about freaking injuries. But they sadly happen. But like I said, I keep saying it. This last time I said it, I was right about that. Now, the thing that could still be determined, I question why they completely have broken up their NBA Finals roster and kind of, thrown it away. I was going to say throw it in the trash can. That would kind of be a little bit negative, but they've thrown it away. The only thing and remnants that you have of that is Devin Booker, who is obviously the superstar, the main attraction of the team. It is very weird that I'm 13 minutes into the video and I'm just now talking about Devin Booker. But when Kevin Durant initially got there, we thought, oh, I can play with Chris Paul, who's an all-time great point guard. I can play for Monty Williams, who I've had history with. I believe in OKC, Monty was an assistant coach to be correct. And then the playoffs happened, and both were instantly gone. Monty was gone. Chris Paul, we thought for a day was being waived, but the trade ended up having to get Bradley Beal. And then again, it's just like everything is gone. The only thing that remains from that finals roster is Devin Booker. And again, if you're a Suns fan watching this, I will ask you this question, and you will say you're okay with the scenario you're in now. But 5 years from now, when this roster is a lot different, you will think about it. There was a rumor that the Nets and Suns, I don't know who proposed the trade. I think the Suns proposed the trade, saying they would trade Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, and 2 first-round picks for Kyrie Irving, who was ultimately the ultimate domino effect of him getting traded from the Nets, led to this trade happening, and would be an even bigger what if this trade happened. So, your team would be Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and DeAndre Ayton. But the main thing there is you still have a Defensive Player of the Year caliber player in Mikal Bridges, and you're adding Kyrie Irving, And arguably, you could say that Kyrie and Booker would be a top 2 to 3 backcourt in the league. Because again, you wouldn't have the Kyrie Irving and Luka backcourt. Again, it's just a what if. I think if I was to ask a Suns fan, they're okay with where they're at now. But again, it's something that I like that team more. That's just kind of why I'm proposing this now. And again, you still have picks left where now you don't have any damn picks left because you got Kevin Durant. And again, if this trade happened involving Chris Paul for Kyrie Irving, the Kevin Durant situation is extremely different. Maybe he stays in Brooklyn and then waits for the offseason to get traded. I really doubt that. And again, all those teams I was talking about earlier, maybe they're like, well, let's go get Kevin Durant. It's just a big what if. I like proposing freaking what ifs. There, I did it. But long story short, this is my kind of conclusion wrap up. The Phoenix Suns traded for an all-time great player. Have kind of just stayed in the same position, but it might ultimately hurt their future because they don't have the damn draft picks because they traded for Kevin Durant. They've also traded for Bradley Beal. They've traded away their entire finals roster except for Devin Booker, even the damn coach. And they've just kind of stayed in the same position where injuries have hurt them. And when they're available, we can see they're very good. But in the grand scheme of things, are they going to be healthy? That is just something else that we'll have to see down the line. So to wrap this video up, because I just spent 17 minutes talking about it, I'm okay with my Grizzlies not trading for Kevin Durant a year later. I think a lot of teams are okay not trading for Kevin Durant. But they still always will have that what-if factor playing in their mind. The Phoenix Suns are in a good position with this team. Maybe they still could make a trade. Like, that is completely a thing that could happen, and it helps them out a lot more. But they still, they have questions that need to be answered. But they ultimately won the sweepstakes in getting Kevin Durant. It was something that a lot of freaking teams wanted to do in the offseason, and they ultimately could say that they were the ones to do that. But has it propelled them to that next level, contender level? They're at the door. They're at the door being a contender. They just got to decide, do they want to open it, be very subtle with it, or do they want to knock the freaking door down and be the awesome team that they have the potential to be? Because there was a couple of games in the playoffs where Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, mainly Booker, was going off against the Denver Nuggets, and it was a 2-2 series. And I was like, they could do it, and then who in the West could stop them at that time? Who's left? The Lakers or Warriors. That would have been a very interesting series, but obviously that did not happen as the Nuggets won the damn championship and won the whole thing, or won the series and then won the championship. So I should have said that. But now the Suns' main thing is, how do we take advantage of these years with Kevin Durant? Because once he is gone, this team might be in hell because they ain't got no draft picks. They might not have any help for Devin Booker. It's just a bunch of what ifs that we shall see. But this is just something that I wanted to do, a little special video, mainly because, again, this is wrapping it up. I've been making YouTube videos back for a year. I've enjoyed a great majority of them. There's some that I've just dreaded making, but it's just a topic that I wanted to talk about. But initially, what sparked it all is everybody that I would talk about this trade with was asleep. So I was like, I'll talk to myself about it and air it to the masses via YouTube. So the first video you'll see on my channel should be me initially reacting to the Kevin Durant trade. And now, 1 year later, we're back talking about the same thing. But a little bit different because I've got different perspectives on it. So, it's just kind of a retrospective video per se. But the video is done now. I thank you for watching it. I thank you for watching all my videos, hopefully. I hope you stay safe, you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.